What was supposed to be a night of celebration turned into disaster after 4 friends who were all drunk left the bar in the city without a designated driver. Designate a driver. Don't drink and drive.
This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, the 30th of September, 2024. I'm Alana Bose with the latest this evening. The Guyana Police Force said the search is ongoing for the man who was snatched and abducted from outside the New Thriving restaurant last Thursday. The incident was captured by someone who was in a vehicle outside the restaurant. In the video recording, you can observe 5 men accosting Joshua David and pushing him across the road while he sought to fight them off. Eyewitnesses said he was thrown into a vehicle which drove off from the area with 2 of the men who abducted him following on their motorcycles. Joshua David has not been seen or heard from since, and investigators have been moving into a number of East Coast Demerara communities, expanding their search for him. A wanted bulletin was issued for the 5 men who were identified as his suspected abductors. Their names have been given as Aaron Allen, Alpha Poole, Wayne Barker, Dwayne Griffith, and Osafo Peters. One of the men has since surrendered to the police and is now assisting with investigations. The Guyana Police Force is asking for anyone with information about the whereabouts of the other wanted men to make contact with the police. The Guyana Police Force has been tight-lipped on its investigations and the search for the missing man. Investigators have been reaching out to a number of his friends and family members, hoping to get information as to any issue he might have had with anyone resulting in the abduction. News source understands that the missing man is believed to be friends with one of the men recently identified as a suspect in a Durban Street shooting incident that left 3 people dead. The police would not confirm those reports and whether he might have been abducted in relation to any other recent incidents. More news coming up in a moment.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. It can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Your own home is so much more than just 4 walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Are you ready to elevate your career with a world-class education from the comfort of your home? The University of Excellence Management and Business, UEMB, Guyana's premier accredited and recognized tertiary institution, invites you to join one or more of our comprehensive 145-degree programs. Registration is now open for our next intake on September 9 and every 2 months thereafter. Enroll now and secure a 50% scholarship. Choose from an ABA, BBA, MBA, MPM, EMBA, EMPM, and LLM degrees, available in 14 specializations. Whether you hold an undergraduate degree, a diploma, or relevant professional qualifications, apply. We are an accredited degree-granting tertiary institution in Guyana. Our programs are also equivalent to a USA Regional Accredited degree. Submit your completed application form, proof of entrance qualification, and any form of ID. For more details, visit our administrative office in the Critchlow Labour College, Front Building, Wolford Avenue, or call 225-1395, 225-1397-9, 618-3434, and 681-3434. Progressing to a degree is as easy as ABC with UEMB. Deal with the best and forget the rest.
I can't wait until tomorrow.
Yes.
Start packing this, yeah?
I ain't start packing yet. Usually I pack a couple hours before and I go. Drive. I got my phone, I got my keys, my charger, my
Procrastinating planning for the future? Well, that's never a good idea. Let Demerara Mutual and Demerara Fire and General help you get started with planning for your future today. I'm with Dem.
Opposition leader Aubrey Norton has not ruled out street protests against excesses and mismanagement by the government, but has indicated that his party's move not to engage street protests is strategic. Addressing a town hall meeting in Canada over the weekend, Mr. Norton documented instances of alleged widespread corruption, mismanagement, and waste of resources by the current administration. He said the opposition has been constantly highlighting the issue, but cautioned that any move to protest now when the government is seemingly under pressure can degenerate and give the government an upper hand.
I believe that there should be protests to put pressure to the government. But as Leila said to you, street protests is not the best option now. Why do I say that? The People's Progressive Party is on its back foot. Many people in their constituency, in the Guyanese, are not supporting them, are tired of them. And Jagdeo continues to irritate so that they can do street protests. But you know what they do in the street protests? They pay young African Guyanese to beat Indians and then blame it on the political party.
He told party supporters in Canada to be vigilant and to agitate in the diaspora for change in Guyana. He said the opposition is engaged in a campaign to unseat the PPP and would not want to be distracted at this time. Mr. Norton said that the country needs a reset from what is currently taking place, alleging that the conduct of the country's security forces, coupled with the alleged government abuses, is taking Guyana down a dangerous path. And while it seems that the opposition is not doing much, it is moving strategically.
We at this stage should not do anything that will result in conflict between the two major ethnic groups. And I do believe that that is what the People's Progressive Party is pushing for. However, that must not be interpreted to mean that there will be no protests. There will be protests, but they will be done in a way that allows us to achieve our objectives without allowing the PPP to achieve their objective of creating division in our society.
The opposition leader pressed for diaspora support ahead of the 2025 general and regional elections, noting that the key role it can play in effecting change. He said his party is committed to ensuring good governance and the return of a democratic society where all Guyanese can enjoy the proceeds from the country's oil resources. Leader of the Alliance for Change AFC Nigel Hughes is pushing for new legislation that would guarantee all Guyanese financial aid on an annual basis. Speaking to residents of Liverpool and Lancaster at a Bottom House meeting over the weekend, Hughes said with Guyana earning approximately $1.6 billion per day from oil alone, the country can afford to make direct cash transfers to its citizens on an annual basis. He said currently, assistance provided to segments of the population in the form of cash grants is being politicized by the administration, despite the fact that the resources of the country belong to its people.
So let me cut out all this stuff. Let me cut out all this politician coming and play God with you money. And let me pass a law. Let me pass a law that says every single year, every single citizen of this country gets a specified amount of money determined by the economists. And everybody, you got opposition economists, government economists. Let them decide. And you make it a law, so on the birthday of every citizen, the money go in your bank account and you go somewhere and collect your cash. It is not a favor. It is yours. It is your right.
The Working People's Alliance, WPA, was among the first to propose the issuance of direct cash transfers using revenues from the oil and gas industry, but the proposal has not found favor with the current administration. Critics have concluded that such a move would make Guyanese lazy, but Hughes said such a conclusion is an insult to the Guyanese people who have long demonstrated their ability to work and mobilize. Hughes said with the absence of meaningful financial aid, many Guyanese continue to live in poverty, but collectively, they can change the status quo and fight against corruption and theft of resources while lifting themselves out of poverty.
Think about 1.6 billion Guyana dollars per day by $365 per year, but 365 days per year, and ask yourself, why all of us sitting down in this level of poverty right now. That money belongs to all of us. And I'm very serious when I say this. If we, collectively, the people of this country, don't get up now and stop the theft and plunder, they will put us not in second-class citizenship, but in third-class citizenship. Our ancestors have fought and defeated their enemies in worse times than we are facing. So we, at least, the minimum we can do is that in a time of peace and in a time of plenty, we have to get up to fight collectively, all of us.
Meanwhile, in the absence of such legislation that would guarantee Guyanese annual financial assistance, the AFC chairman David Patterson urged Guyanese to capitalize on existing programs and projects, but come 2025, vote for change.
But if you could get a cash grant, if you get a contract, do it good. Don't shame me and help your brother. Because the money doesn't belong to them, it belongs to the people of Guyana. They're only temporary custodians of it. And the time, fool and the money is soon parted, them and governance and their office will soon be over. Soon be over.
Elections in Guyana are constitutionally due in 2025. Patterson said Guyanese from every nook and cranny must vote and vote for a change. Noting that every vote counts, Patterson reminded that based on the results published by the Guyana Elections Commission GECOM, People's Progressive Party Civic PPPC won the 2020 elections by just over 10,000 votes.
Hi, I'm Marlene Street Forrest, Managing Director of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Join us at the second Regional Investment and Capital Markets Conference to be held in Guyana on October 8 to 9, 2024 at the Pegasus Suites and Corporate Center. Under the theme Financing for Success, where passion, prosperity and people align, we will explore the latest trends and opportunities in wealth creation and economic development. This two-day event promises to be engaging, enlightening and game-changing. To register to attend, visit www.jamstockex.com or call 876-967-3271. Come and make the right connections.
The Guyana Elections Commission GECOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by December 31st, 2024 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. Types of transactions. Anyone eligible for registration is required to visit the registration office responsible for his or her area of residence to apply for registration. Persons who are already registered could apply for a name change if they have changed their names since they were last registered. Apply for corrections if there is incorrect information on their national ID cards. Persons who are desirous of conducting any of the above transactions must provide the relevant supporting documents. Persons who are already registered could request that their photographs be retaken if the quality of the photographs on their ID cards is unacceptable. Collect their new ID cards if they have not done so as yet. This registration exercise will end on November 29, 2024. For further information, please contact GECOM on the following hotline numbers: 225-027729, 226-6557, 223-9650, or visit the GECOM website at www.gecom.org.gy.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Monster, bust the flavors. We're full of flavors. Bust the flavors, that my crave for. We're full of flavors. Tell your neighbors about the bust the flavors. Grab a bust the flavors. Yeah, thirst buster, grab a buster. Bust the flavor, taste the savor. Buster, bust the flavors. Buster, bust the flavors.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. I can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
The National Procurement and Tender Administration Board, NPTAB, has defended the procurement process for the recently concluded Schoonard Crane 4-lane highway, as concerns are being raised about the awarding of the contract for some of the lots and the quality of work that was done. The contract for the highway was awarded to several contractors in lots. AFC leader Nigel Hughes has been highlighting a number of concerns and has stated that in some instances, the highest bidder was awarded the contract over many of the lower bids and much higher than the estimate of the engineers. Mr. Hughes recently published a document noting that 18 bids were lower than the contract awarded to Hughes Construction and Services Inc. for one of the lots, and in another there were 11 bids lower than the bid of Val's Construction, which was awarded the contract. There were a number of similar occurrences. According to Mr. Hughes, in all cases there were contractors with equal or superior experience who had lower tender prices. He said the National Procurement and Tender Administration Board, NPTAB, in all the cited cases, based on the awards, would want citizens to believe that none of the tenders with lower bid prices were deemed evaluated. But the tender board responded in statement and pointed out that the process was transparent and transparent methods were used to award the contracts. According to the tender board, it is important to emphasize that the open tendering method, which it sees as the most competitive and transparent procurement method, was used. It said 32 bidders submitted tenders which were evaluated strictly in accordance with the evaluation criteria, and 8 of the bidders were compliant with the administrative and technical criteria set out in the bidding documents. The tender board said those bidders were deemed responsive and were considered for further evaluation, while those who were non-responsive were not further evaluated. The National Tender Board also said each bidder was limited to one lot and evaluated based on the combination of the contractor's resources, experience, and capacity to execute the works within the stipulated timeline and scope of works, and that it accepted the recommendations made by the evaluators based on their representations regarding the respective contractor's capacity to execute the individual lots in a timely manner, given the urgency within which the project was required to be completed. Premier of the British Virgin Islands, Natalio D. Wheatley, has announced that Guyanese travelers to the BVI will no longer require a visa to enter the islands. At a press conference this morning, Premier Wheatley said the move will seek to develop trade and travel relations between Guyana and the British Virgin Islands.
Many of our Caribbean brothers and sisters already benefit from visa-free access to the BVI, and we are pleased to extend this reciprocal courtesy to Guyana, a giant in our Caribbean community.
Noting the current economic transformation taking place in Guyana, Premier of the British Virgin Islands said Guyana's economic growth and development cannot be ignored, and it is very important to be building partnerships at this time.
As a CARICOM member and emerging global power, Guyana has become a model for sustainable growth and international diplomacy. Guyana's election to the United Nations Security Council places it in a pivotal position to influence the global policies on peace and security, an accomplishment that elevates the Caribbean's voice on the international stage. Guyana has become a focal point for global investment, driven by its significant oil reserves and growing non-oil sectors, for example.
Premier Wheatley said the British Virgin Islands is currently working on a memorandum of understanding to further deepen ties with Guyana. He said with the BVI previously sending a trade mission to Guyana, other similar missions are now expected to follow as the country seeks stronger relations with Guyana. A 38-year-old woman from Wismar, Linden, lost her life yesterday in an accident along the Rockstone Trail just outside of Linden. The dead woman has been identified as Julie Higgins. The police report said the accident took place at around 3:30 on Sunday afternoon. Higgins was the passenger in a motor car that was being driven by Kenrick Johnson of Amelia's Ward, Linden. The police said, based on reports, the car was proceeding west along the southern side of the trail at a high speed, and after the driver negotiated a left bend, he lost control and the vehicle toppled several times before coming to a halt. The passenger, Julie Higgins, was pitched from the vehicle and found lying motionless some distance away from the vehicle. Both the driver and occupant were rushed to the hospital where the woman was pronounced dead and the driver was admitted with several injuries. An investigation is ongoing.
GECOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by December 31, 2024 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. Where to apply for registration? You are required to visit the registration office that is responsible for the registration of persons in your area of residence to apply for registration. Office hours, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 12 hours, 13 hours to 16 hours 30, and Friday from 8 to 12 hours and 13 to 15 hours 30. The offices will be closed on weekends and holidays. This registration exercise will end on November 29, 2024. For further information, contact the GECOM on 225-0277-9 or visit the website www.gecom.org.gy.
What was supposed to be a night of celebration turned into disaster after 4 friends who were all drunk left the bar in the city without a designated driver. Designate a driver. Don't drink and drive.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look. You know the one. Or one touch. Even one word. I can start with one step. Or one promise. One thrill. One first time. One deep breath. One leap of faith. One day to remember. Or one night to forget. One moment. So many stories. that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life. Just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyoil is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyoil's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guyoil has now repositioned itself as a market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
Across the region tonight, the United States has dropped a push for the UN Security Council to ask for a plan to transform a security mission helping fight armed gangs in Haiti into a formal UN peacekeeping operation, a move some diplomats said was made to appease Russia and China. A senior U.S. administration official, however, pushed back against that assessment, saying Washington changed its strategy to support a call last week by the head of Haiti's Transition Council, Edgar LeBlanc, for a UN peacekeeping mission. Haitian leaders speaking at the United General Assembly last week warned of worsening insecurity in the country despite the partial deployment of the security force. In Trinidad, the National Payments Corporation of India's NPCI International Payments Limited (NIPL) has signed a bilateral agreement with the Ministry of Digital Transformation (MDT) to develop a real-time and efficient payments platform similar to India's flagship Unified Payments Interface (UPI). TNT will become the first country in the Caribbean to adopt the UPI platform following the signing. UPI is a payment scheme where online transaction processing, interbank settlements, and customer disputes are managed holistically. It seeks to enable access to fast payment technology with a greater autonomy and flexibility in handling financial transactions and bank services in TNT. And finally, at this time, international news. A dock workers' strike is set to shut down ports across much of the U.S. indefinitely, threatening significant trade and economic disruption ahead of the presidential election and the busy holiday shopping season. Tens of thousands of members of the International Longshoremen's Association, ILA, are preparing to walk out on Tuesday at 14 major ports along the eastern Gulf coasts, halting container traffic from Maine to Texas. Barring a last-minute intervention, the action will mark the first shutdown in almost 50 years. President Joe Biden has the power to suspend the strike for 80 days for further negotiations, but the White House has said he is not planning to act. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I am Alana Bose reporting and encouraging you to have a safe night.